Hey guys, it's Valerie. Today we're going to be doing a yoga Pilates fusion, full body. You don't have to have weights, but if you'd like to use them for an additional challenge, go ahead and grab your weights. We're going to go ahead and get started in a downward facing dog. So hands are going to be a little wider than shoulder width distance wide. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips up, and let's just start by pedaling out the feet. We're going to start with a nice sun salutation A just to get our body nice and warmed up. So we're going to bend the knees, gaze in between the hands, step to the top of the mat and find a nice forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, straighten the spine, create a number 7 with your body. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up, rise up, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, let's take a back bend, cactus the arms at 90 degrees. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step it back into your plank position. Now options here to drop down onto the knees or stay onto those toes, lower halfway down or all the way down. Inhale into your cobra or push the tops of the feet into the ground, lift the thighs off the mat and find an upward facing dog. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips up. Let's find a downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze in between the hands. Step or hop to the front of the mat. This time option to grab those weights. Through the spine, rise up into a chair pose. We're going to bring the feet close together, knees together if they can. If that's uncomfortable for your body, then feet can be hip width distance wide, knees stacking over the toes. We're going to lower down and lift up. Lower and lift. Squat it down. Rise up. Still try to keep a bend in that knee. Even when you rise up. Lower and lift. Down and up. A few more times. You got this. Down and lower. Lift it up. Lower down. One more. Squeeze that booty. Lower down. Let's go ahead. Bring those. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands and come back into a plank position. The left hand is going to be our foundation. Right arm is going to reach up, side plank. Right hand comes down, switch it out. Left arm goes up. Come back into your plank. We're going to do that one more time each side. Reach that right arm nice and high. Lower that hand down. Switch it out. The left hand comes up nice and high. Let's come down into our plank position and slowly, one inch at a time, lower all the way down onto the belly. Untuck the toes, plant the tops of the feet down into the floor. Lift the chest and shoulders away from the floor. Pull the elbows towards each other. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and then lift the hands off of the mat. Lower back down. Exhale, lift up. This time lift the legs up. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Lift the hands off the floor. And lower down. One more time. This time we're going to lift up. Lift the legs up. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Reach the arms forward. And then pull the elbows back in. Reach forward and squeeze back in. You got it. One more. Bring it back in. Lift up. Squeeze. Hands underneath the shoulders. Tuck the elbows in towards the chest. Tuck the toes under. Let's rise back up into our plank position. We're going to lower halfway down, elbows to the side, lift back up, lower down, and rise. One more time, lower down, lift up, and this time we'll come all the way into our downward facing dog. Let's take our feet mat width distance wide, maybe even a little wider than that. If it makes you not slip around on the floor, we're going to take the left hand, reach for the right foot, come back to center, and switch it out, lifting. This is going to help our flexibility and our core strength and our shoulder flexibility. Reaching for those toes, reaching for that shin. You got it. Last one each side. And we'll find our nice neutral downward facing dog. Lift that right leg nice and high. Exhale, round the spine, hug it in. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin to the chest. Lift up. One more time, hold it here. Draw that knee in towards the belly and then step that foot in between your hands. Come into a nice low lunge. Let's grab our weights. Bend into that front knee, straighten through the spine, lift up through the chest. We're gonna bring those arms out, shoulder width distance wide. We're gonna bend the knee and straighten. And as we bend, we're gonna bring the elbows together and back, in and out. Nice job. Squeeze, lower down and lift. You got it. Really try to keep a bend in that front knee. Try to really draw those elbows close to each other. Turn the pinkies in. Nice job for 3. Last 2 and 1. Open it up to warrior 2. Bend into that front knee, toes pointing forward. Back foot is parallel to the back of the mat. We're gonna lengthen those arms out nice and long. Bend and straighten. Sink it down and lift. Make sure that knee is not going past those toes. You should be burning out your arms here, keeping those arms nice and lifted. Shoulders and wrists are in line with each other. Sink it down and up. Breathe here. We're not here for much longer. Pull that belly in nice and tight for 3. Last 2 and 1. Let's bring our feet parallel to the front and back of the mat. We're gonna come in for a nice wide leg forward fold. Plant the hands down onto the ground. We're gonna step that left foot through and come into a boat pose on our booty. So let's go ahead and lift those feet up nice and high. Now, option to take your weights here if you'd like. Bring those weights together. We're gonna turn it out to one side and then the other. You got it. Sink it down. Nice gentle twists. Lower and lift. Try to keep that chest nice and lifted. Beautiful. Squeeze and squeeze for 3. Last 2 and 1. Awesome job. Let's take our weights, place them at the front of our mat, plant our hands, roll over those legs, and let's come back into our downward facing dog. Plant the hands wider than shoulder width distance apart. Tuck the toes under. Lift the hips up nice and high. We're going to lift that left leg up. Exhale, knee to nose. Round the spine. Hug it in. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale up. Last time, let's hug it in. Squeeze that knee in towards the chest. And then step that foot through. Let's grab our weights. Rise up. Lift those hands up. Arms at 90 degrees. We're going to lower and lift. Come down, elbows together. Think about pulling those pinkies towards each other. Down and up. Burning out those arms, burning out the leg. Down and up. You got this. We're not here for much longer. Just 3. Last 2 and 1. Awesome. Let's open it up into our warrior 2 stance. Back foot parallel, front foot facing the opposite direction. My front heel is in line with my back arch. Arms are gonna go out nice and long. Palms facing down. Let's lift and lower. Squat it down and up. Make sure that front toe or front knee doesn't go past that front toe. Keep those arms nice and lifted. That's a shoulder workout all on its own. Down and up for 3. Last 2 and 1. Let's go ahead, find our wide leg forward fold and take a little breather here. Let the head relax down. Feel that nice stretch in the inner thigh. Plant the hands. This time the right leg is going to slide through and we're going to end up in a boat pose on our mat. Take those weights with you. Lift the chest up nice and high. Low boat and high boat. Lower down and lift up. Those weights are definitely an added challenge. So if that's too much, just drop your weights down. You got this. Lower and lift for 3. Last 2 and 1. Beautiful. Let's come back up. Plant our weights at the front of the mat. We're going to bring our hands shoulder width distance a little wider. Toes or fingers point out slightly. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips up, and find your downward facing dog. Bend the knees here to keep that back nice and straight. When I straighten out my legs, sometimes that makes us round our back. We want to make sure we have a nice flat back. Let's go ahead and lift that right leg nice and high. On the exhale, we're going to bring that knee towards the elbow. Lift it up. Right knee, right elbow. Bring it in. lift up, and crunch it in. Nice job. Lift and lower. One more time. Lift up. Exhale, bring it in and hold here. Step that right foot through. Grab those weights. We're gonna lift that back leg up nice and high. We're gonna stand all the way up. Bring those weights with you. Now from here, we're gonna do a deadlift with a row. So we're gonna stay grounded into that right lower down, lift back, come all the way back up to standing. Lower, knee, arms in, lower down, lift up. Now try to keep your back nice and straight here. We don't want any rounding in the spine. That's gonna hurt our low back. So nice gentle motions here. Lower and lift. You got it. Down and up. Nice job. Beautiful. Last 3. Last 2. And 1. Beautiful. We're going to take that left foot and step it all the way to the back of our mat. I'm going to turn and face you this way just so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to drop it down for some goddess squats. So go ahead and sink it down nice and low. Toes out, heels in. Now we're going to take our weights. We're going to bring them in towards the center of our body. We're going to lower and lift. Little goddess squat kettlebell swings. Lift up and down. My back stays nice and straight. And I really squeeze my hips as I lift back up. Lower and lift. You got this. Down and up. Lower and lift. Working those arms. Keep that core nice and tight. See how low you can sit those hips down for 3. Last 2 and 1. Awesome. Let's take our hands, place their weights down towards our front of our mat. Walk our hands to the front of the mat. Take those down. We're going to find a plank pose and hold here. Now from here, we're going to do little knee taps. Tap those knees on the ground. Try to keep those hips nice and in line with the shoulders. Beautiful. For 3. Last 2. And 1. Let's find that downward facing dog. Lift that left leg nice and high. Exhale, knee to elbow. Lift up and back. Squeeze it in and lengthen. You got it. Just 1 more here. We're going to hold, 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 hold. Step that left foot in between the hands. Grab your weights. Lift that right. And then straighten the spine here. Bend that left knee as much as you need to make sure that back's nice and straight. We're going to rise all the way up to standing. And we're going to come back into our deadlift rows. We're going to and lift up. Squeeze. Down. Up. You got it. Elbows stay nice and close. Lower, lift. Nice job. Squeeze and up. Last 3. Last 2. Don't lose your balance like me. And 1. Last. Squeeze it in. Let's take that right leg, step it all the way to the back of our mat. We're coming back down for our goddess squat. Take those hands in towards the chest. Now for this one, we're going to bend our knee, take a lunge towards the front, punch it out, come back to center, punch it out towards the back. Nice job rotating on those toes. That's going to help really fire up our stabilizer muscles here, using our core, using our glutes, and of course, our shoulders. Nice job. Try to keep those hips nice and low. Switch it out. We're not here for much longer. You got this. We got 1 more each side. Keep those hips down nice and low. Beautiful. Come back to center. Straighten those legs. Hands come down. Walk them all the way to the front of the mat. We're going to go ahead and find that plank pose. But this time in our plank, we're going to start to walk the feet in, and we're going to come down into a malasana yogi squat. Now, because this is a yoga flow, I like to give my class a nice challenge. So we're going to do an arm balance, and if you know an arm balance, is not your thing, then you're gonna hang out in the Malasana Yogi squat, take your elbows, push those legs out nice and wide, and take a nice little stretch. Now some of you are gonna plant your hands about hip width distance wide, chaturanga arms, keep those elbows close to the hips. We're gonna lift the hips up nice and high, bring the knees onto the triceps, start to shift your weight forward. Maybe lift one toe off the mat, followed by the other. Now, your gaze is super important here. Can you find one spot on the floor that's not moving? Beautiful. When you're done playing around in that crow pose, we're gonna go ahead and make our way onto our back. Whew. Let's give yourself a nice big hug for all the hard work you've done so far. And here we go into our bridge. We're gonna lift those hips up nice and high. Lift that left leg, extend the right arm. We're gonna lift up and out. Keep those hips lifted. Don't let those hips drop down to the floor. Also make sure that that right knee is not splaying out towards the side. It's hugging in nice and tight, as if it's trying to reach for that left knee. Nice job. Squeeze it up. Keep lifting through that right glute. I know this is challenging. You got this. For 3, last 2, and 1. Lower down. Let's take a little bit of a break here before we go into our second side. And by break, I mean a different exercise. We're gonna take those knees, stack them on top of the hips. Pull that right knee and extend that left leg out nice and long. Reach it over for your bicycle crunches. Now really try to get that chest up. You don't wanna see that elbow in your peripheral vision. We're just using our core here to bring it over and back. Nice job. Keep lifting here. Squeeze as you come up. Lift and lower. Nice job. Keep it going. Pull that belly towards the spine for 3. 2 more each side as that low back push down into the mat. Beautiful. All right, let's get into our second side of our bridge pose. So we're gonna ground down into that left foot. Lift the hips up nice and high. Extend that left arm up. Right hand can stay down for support. Lift that right leg up. Bring it together and out. Lift and lower. Keep digging into that left heel. Lift those hips up nice and high. I know this is challenging. We're using our core here, using our glutes, using our arms. You got this. For 3, last 2, and 1. Let's go ahead, lower it back down onto the mat. We're gonna go ahead and ground our spine down to the floor. Take those knees over the hips. We're gonna lift our upper body off of the mat and extend our legs out forward. Now we're gonna do hundreds here. So push those hands down to the floor. Now maybe you take one leg and drop it down and up, down and up. Lift and lower. You got this. Keep squeezing those core muscles in towards your spine. You got this. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. You got it for 3, last 2, and 1. Beautiful. We're going to come back to those glutes. Let's lift up. Lift that left leg, right arm up. Reach and lower. Lift up and down. Keep those hips up nice and high. Reach and down. Breathe here. You got this. Keep it going. Don't give up on me for 3, last 2, and 1. This time we're going to go straight into our second side. Lift the hips up, extend that left arm, extend that right leg, bring them together and lengthen. Pull that belly in. Neck and shoulders is nice and relaxed. We're just using that core, using that booty. Check in with that left knee. Make sure it's drawing towards the midline of the body for 3, last 2, and 1. Awesome. 1 last round of hundreds and then you're done. Lift the chest and shoulder off the mat. Stack the knees on top of the hips. Let's go ahead, extend those legs out. Tap it down and up. Tap and lower. Can you gaze down at that navel? Pull that belly in a little bit more. You got it. This is it, guys. This is all we have left. So push yourself for 3, last 2, 1 more each side. You got this. lower and lift, down and up. Beautiful. Let's take a full body stretch. Reach the arms, let that low back lift off of the mat. Let's go ahead and rise up. Awesome job, guys. Again, my name is Valerie. I will see you next time.